Oh my goodness. Hello, guys. Welcome to today's episode of Many Mistakes Ago. So, this is going to be an interesting episode because I am going to be talking about my relationship and things that I feel like are done differently in a healthy relationship versus an unhealthy relationship. Um, so it's kind of like green and red flags, if you will, um, in relationships. So I have been with my girlfriend for almost 6 months. Literally, tomorrow is the 6 month mark, which I think is wild. Hi, baby! Sadie just walked in. Did you finish your food? Mama's so proud. Mama's so proud. I usually go to check on her food to make sure, but I'm gonna let her have a little prance around, just because I really don't have much time to record this episode. Just to get into a little bit of personal stuff. This past weekend, I went to my eye doctor on Saturday and I found out that I'm bleeding behind my eyes. So I'm going to a retina specialist. I'm waiting for the referral, but it's quite possible that it's diabetic retinopathy. It could be many other things. It could be, XYZ. Like, I don't know why, which is why I'm being referred to a specialist. But I do, obviously, I'm a diabetic, so I want to keep that in mind. And if anyone knows me, you know that I've been struggling for like 2 months now with my sugars because I switched to the Dexcom G7 and my tandem didn't have the update for the G7 because I got it as a replacement, and then I didn't realize I needed to update it, and then in March when I was switching to the Dexcom, it was out of warranty, so I couldn't download the update for the G7. So now my CGM and my pump don't talk to each other. Um, we've got that issue resolved. I'm getting the Beta Bionics eyelet. However, because it needs prior authorization and they got to order it and all that jazz, it can take up to a month. So I might not see it till mid May. Which makes it a little bit frustrating because obviously, like, I don't know what's going on with my eyes. I'm freaking out. I'm very stressed. I've been like high stressed all month just about different things, and I honestly just cannot take any more at this point. So my mind is like all over. But that's just a little personal update for you guys. I just wanted to let y'all know kind of what's going on. And sorry if y'all can hear that. That's Sadie drinking water. I don't know if y'all can hear that. It's a little loud, but it's fine. Let's get into today's episode because I do want to talk about it before my girlfriend gets home and all that jazz. So let me just actually close the door. Sadie, come in here, baby. You're gonna stay with Mama just for a moment. Yeah, just for a moment. Okay. So basically what I want to talk about is the difference it has being in a healthy relationship. So I'm going to get into a little bit of a nitty-gritty between me and Larissa's relationship. I don't know if she's going to want me to disclose certain things, so I'm going to try to stay on like a borderline and know what my boundaries are when it comes to what I talk about. Speaking of boundaries, I'm reading the book Set Boundaries, Find Peace. I don't know about y'all, but I hate when books have like the covers. So I just like took the cover off and it's just gonna chill there until I'm done reading the book. Because I just hate those like paper covers. I don't know why. If it's a paperback book, it's fine. But if you have a hardcover with like a paper cover, like what are you doing? I can't do that. But I've been reading a book about boundaries, and that's going to be next week's episode. So stay tuned. I'm about halfway through the book. And that's not great news for me because I need to start reading this book heavily so I can give you details. Although I'm not going to lie, I'm 100 pages in. Um, and I have to say that, like, I have so much content already. Okay. All right. It's been 5 minutes, over 5 minutes. Let me get into today's episode and not talk about next week's episode or my personal life or anything else right now. Let's get into it. Let's get into it. Focus, Marissa. Um, but no, seriously. I think that I don't want to say that the difference for me has been because I've been with a female. Um, because I have had two other female relationships in my past. Like, I mean, my mom might beg to differ, but I beg to differ. I've had this is probably my first like very serious, like I can picture myself marrying this woman serious relationship with a female. Um, for those that know, I've also dated Anna in 2022, and Maddie was, oh my god, it was like I was in high school. That was a while ago. So I can't exactly tell you what year that was. Probably 2013. Um, and my mom might beg to differ on that one, but it's fine. Um, but this is like the first, like, very, like, I'm set, I'm good with a female. And I don't want to say because it's with a female that it's been a healthier relationship, because I have had toxic experiences. I think the thing is one, I grew up, two, I am with the gender that I want to be with. That is a big one because I think sexuality has a lot to do with why my last couple relationships failed. On top of many other things, it's not just to do with my sexuality. Like with Jeff and with Alec, there were definitely things that were not right to begin with, other than my sexuality. Um, but also, I just think that her and I were more so maybe meant to be together. I think I have a lot more confidence saying that we are, because I've come to realize the things that I look for in somebody, my non negotiables, if you will, are very important to me, and she does hold those things. And I feel like things that are done differently in this relationship is that she holds space for my emotions just as much as I hold space for hers. We try not to overshadow each other when we are discussing or talking about our emotions. If she's sad, upset, angry, whatever, I'm going to hold space for her emotions and let her feel them and not overshadow it with, you know, well, I feel this way. Like, that's not my business. Like, we can get into that later, but let me hear her out at the least. Um, and then obviously, we just let each other talk. And I feel like our disagreements can be a little bit rough. I'm not going to lie about that. However, I feel like we handle them a lot differently than I've handled them with exes in the past. I think her and I have agreed that, like, we can take a moment and take that space that we need to kind of separate and have space and kind of work through whatever we need to work through to come back and communicate together. That's a huge one. And when we do communicate, I'm not always perfect with how I voice myself to her, but I know that she does pretty damn well voicing herself to me. I feel like it's very important to take into consideration what you're saying, how you're saying it, and reminding yourself that you aren't going to win an argument just by being louder or just by being more obnoxious. Like, if you want to, I don't want to say win an argument, but like if you want to communicate and find ground, you need to be talking to your partner with respect. And that has been a huge one for me because I struggle with when I feel disrespected or I feel like that person was out to get me or out to hurt me, that I want them to feel the same pain. And I have to keep reminding myself over and over again that Larissa is not like that. Marissa, you're just in your past, you're in your head. You need to get out of your head and recognize that this person is different from other people that you've dated. um, I struggled because I did date a narcissist. And for anyone that has dated a narcissist or has come across, experienced a narcissist, you know that it is very hard to date and get into the dating pool and be with other people after that because you're unlearning so many things. Like, I used to apologize for things that weren't my fault. I used to argue. I used to feel bad for things that weren't my fault. I used to feel like shit after working two jobs and cooking dinner and doing all of this stuff, but I missed one thing and it's like all hell breaks loose. Um, and I think it's just that my girlfriend's home and Sadie is sad because she's not with her. But Remy just got home from being spayed, so we're not going to unleash the beast on Remy right now. Hi, honey. You look cute. What's going on?
She just missed the pee-pad.
Aww.
She's really struggling.
Aww.
She's nasty.
Yes, ma'am.
She stained my shirt.
Yes, ma'am. I should
so
be
on
done.
her bracelets, what? You missed one thing?
I should be done soon. I was talking about, so this is actually my episode of what it's like to be in.
She's either high or in a lot of pain.
Probably both.
She's just standing on her pipette staring at the corner.
I love that for her. Maybe she is a little drugged up. I was talking about past relationships because this is to celebrate us being together for 6 months. Uh-huh. So I was saying when you're in a relationship with a narcissist that it's like one little thing goes wrong and that narcissist will blame you for everything, pretty much. But with
it's all your fault, didn't you know?
Oh my god! What are you trying to play a narcissist right now? You're not doing a great job. But no, it's just kind of like how it is to be in a healthy relationship and how that goes and how that works.
You think we're in a healthy relationship?
It's definitely the healthiest one I've been in.
Mine too.
I should be done soon, but I did lose my train of thought.
Sorry.
So bear with me.
I heard you saying like making food and then miss one thing, and I'm just like, I don't go off on her for anything like that.
No, you don't. That's my point. Is you don't go off on me.
I just be like, what the hell is she talking about?
I'm talking about bad experiences.
I should have waited to listen to this episode. I get it. But I heard that, I was like, what the fuck?
You're like, this bitch is making up stories.
It's just like, have I made her feel that way?
No.
Okay. I love you.
I love
you.
Anyway.
I'm gonna see if Pup wants to eat.
Okay.
Not you.
She
right now.
She could use some extras. I only gave her dry food.
Those ears look adorable. What you doing with them?
She said, I'm trying to keep for Mom. She missed you. For sure.
Yeah, well, 3 hours spent at that vet's office.
I'm sorry.
God. And to keep her back looking like this, I'm gonna try and clean her up before I eat.
Do you want me to help you? Can you wait to clean her up, or not really?
If she's just gonna stand there and stare at the corner, yeah.
Okay, I should, like I said, I should be done soon. I want to keep this short. I know I say that about every episode, but
Love you.
I love you. Things that are different in a healthy relationship versus an unhealthy relationship. So like I said, when you're dealing with a narcissist, you tend to feel like everything is your fault, even though it's not. You tend to really, honestly, your self-worth is kind of belittled, and you feel like you don't have any self-worth because it's just all broken down by that other person. And I feel like in a healthy relationship, which I'm in now, sorry, Sadie was, come here, baby. Mama will be here soon. Come here. She's not coming. It's fine. In a healthy relationship, I feel like I'm actually being complimented. I feel like, she tries to focus on all of the things that I do right, even when I express to her, like, all the things I feel like I'm doing wrong. And she's like, well, it's okay. Like, we're raising Remy right now, for example. And I said to her, like, I feel like I'm raising her wrong. I feel like I'm doing everything wrong. I don't know what I'm doing. And she's like, it's okay. Like, you've never had a puppy. Like, you've never had a dog in general to raise. So, like, how would you know these things? And I guess it's just taken me aback because I'm talked to with such a high regard. And I feel like even though I don't always do that, that's something that I want to be able to reciprocate with her. And every single day, I work on the things that I feel like I fail at and I feel like I'm not doing well with. And I take each mistake I make and turn that into a lesson for my future. So, for example, if I speak to Larissa a certain way and I go back and I say, hey, like, I really don't like the way that I talk to you, and I'm sorry, I'm just stressed out, I'm this, I'm that. No, it's not to make up for that or like excuse the fact that I did that. It's to say, hey, I recognize that I fucked up, and like this is now something that is on my radar for me to be like paying more closely attention to, figure out how I can change this, and know that like it's not an okay thing. And I think healthy relationships make us more accountable for the things that we say, for our actions, and just overall, like, how do I put this? Just overall, you feel like you understand that you're not perfect, the other person isn't perfect. You understand that you're both human and you're bound to make those mistakes, and you also accept when the other person does make a mistake because you realize that the intent isn't there to hurt them. This is a healthy relationship. I'm not out to get Larissa. She's not out to get me. And it's just the simple fact of realizing those things and realizing that you are coming from a place of just complete love and adoration for that person. And the only way for you to get over those bad habits, those toxic habits, is to just A, keep reminding yourself of those things, and B, put it into practice. If you are in a calm state, that's when you should be talking to your significant other. And that's something that I've said, that's why I need to take space, because I don't want to say something out of anger. And granted, that's how it should be all the time, but that's a great place to start, is being in a calm state, thinking about what you want to say to somebody, and having an argument just be a disagreement. You can agree to disagree. You can disagree and come to a conclusion or come to some sort of, gosh, what's the word? Compromise. Thank you. Goodness, brain. My brain is not working today. But you can come to some sort of compromise and you can recognize, like, hey, like, there are healthy ways to be doing things. There's a healthy way to communicate, there's a healthy way to set boundaries, which I'll get into next episode. There are so many, gosh, there are just so many things in a healthy relationship. Like, we all know what a healthy relationship should look like, right? You're loving, you're caring, you communicate with each other. Yes, there's bound to be fights. I feel like no matter how perfect you are for each other or in sync, there's going to be a fight eventually. Whether it's about this, that, or the third is none of my business, but when you do have a fight, it's simply a disagreement of some sort. You come to a conclusion, whether it's agree to disagree, or you have a compromise, or whatnot, like whatever your conclusion is, and you both feel fulfilled by one another physically, emotionally, mentally, sexually. That is a healthy relationship. We all want it, we all crave it, but not all of us can do it. And it is very, very hard. Like I said, I feel like I have grown and learned so much from my past relationships where I've either been abused, talked down to, I've talked down to other people, I've, said nasty things or mean things, or felt like they couldn't measure up to my expectations. Whatever the case may be, like, I can recognize, like, I take fault in the parts of relationships where I've been toxic. And, I can only hope that other people do the same. But in growing and learning and being single and figuring out how to navigate a relationship for it to be healthy, it starts with you. Of course, it also starts with the person that you pick, because sometimes you do want to be in a healthy relationship and the person that you're attracting is toxic. That's a completely different story. That does happen and it sucks. But find someone that brings out the best in you, and I promise you, you will be able to find a healthy relationship. And I might have said this before, and people don't know the secret to finding a relationship. I am so dead ass when I say, yes, I did have my eye on Marissa before we started, like, talking, but we were friends first. And although I grew to like her and find myself unable to pull back those feelings for her and it not be, like, just be a friendship level and not be a relationship level, like, I was unable to pull that back and reel it in and be like, okay, Marissa, you're friends, like, stay that way. That's kind of how it should be. It should just flow and be effortless, and just, you let things happen. And like I said, I feel like in me being her friend and all of that, I started to like her and I started to have my eye on her, and I was like, no, I want to be with her. Like, it started off innocently, and it started off just getting to know her, getting to be her friend, feeling out what that's like, and then those Phillips, those feelings just developed. And I think love in its purest form is healthy, and you're not going to beat that, and you're not going to mimic that. That needs to happen and flow naturally. And I know that those people out there that are on that dating apps and swiping and trying to figure out, like, who they're going to date, it's so freaking hard, guys. I met her on a dating app as a friend. We just vibed it out, and it just happened to be. I'm not going to say that you're going to meet your, partner on a dating app or in a bookstore or coffee shop or at work or, wherever else people meet these days, the bar, the club, a restaurant, I don't know, whatever. But make sure that when you start your relationship, or even before, that it's coming from a place of just genuine adoration and love for that person, because I promise you it does make all of the difference. You get to know somebody in their purest form. You get to open up and listen to them and be like, wow, I really admire this person. I really like who they are. And that's what makes you grow closer. And that's healthy versus like, God, whatever the dating scene is like these days. I don't even want to know. But I do know that when I was in it 6 months ago or 7 months ago, I should be more accurate back then. Um, or even just last year, like I wasn't really in the dating scene last year. Let's be real. I was still in Connecticut in April. So, you know, maybe 10 months ago. Let's go with that. 10 months ago. Um the dating scene sucked, and it was so hard to find people, and conversations would end, and I would just get so bored and annoyed and didn't really want to talk to people. And then it's like the moment I met Larissa, I just never got bored. I never. I always wanted to talk to her. I looked forward to talking to her. Seeing her name pop up on my phone made me happy. It's just like those little things that make you realize that, it starts out very early that you realize if a person is good for you, if they're healthy for you. And she's only ever brought out the best in me, even in the horrible scenarios that we've had, even in fights. I have never been my absolute worst with her, and that's how I know. But anyway, my battery saver is on, so we're gonna end this episode. I'm so sorry I kept it short. I hope it was mostly informational and that you guys got a little bit of a grip of the differences. This was a more personable episode, so I know that maybe I can eventually in the future talk about maybe like dating red and green flags. I think that would be a fun episode. And getting into like healthy versus unhealthy relationships a little bit more. I know this one was a little bit more personable, but it was because it's an ode to my girlfriend and I being together for 6 months. Um, Maybe that's cheesy, maybe that's not, I don't know, but I feel like I just want to go clean up our pup, make sure Remy's all good, because Remy just got back from being spayed, and eat dinner with her and spend the rest of my night with her. So that's what I'm going to go do, because that's what makes me happy. I love you guys very, 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 very much. And I will see you next week on Many Mistakes Ago when we talk about setting boundaries.